Hey Battlefield 6 fans, welcome back to another video. We're 4 days away from launch and we just got this from Charlie and Tail on X. EA says Battlefield 6 will have open classes and closed classes playlists in-game at launch. Also states that in the beta that the vast majority of players, after trying both playlist types, chose to stick with open weapons. We're going to get into what open and closed weapons are in Battlefield and we're going to talk about that. But before you do, consider clicking the like, clicking the subscribe, clicking the bell icon. I know everyone asks, it takes a second and it really helps out a lot. We're going to be playing a lot of Battlefield 6 later this weekend, in the weekend, and also come join us and let me know your thoughts on the game. But let's talk about what open and closed weapons are, right? So Battlefield 6 and all Battlefields in general, closed weapons basically restrict specific firearms to their designated classes. So for example, assault rifles for assault, SMGs for engineer class, for support class, LMG, and for recon class, you know, your marksman rifle and your sniper rifles. Basically, you're locked into a specific weapon group for each class in the game. Now, that's how Battlefield used to do it, and that's how a lot of people still want it, to be honest. Whereas open classes basically allow you any class to equip almost any gun for greater flexibility and customization. So basically, if you're a sniper with open weapons, you as a sniper or a recon class, you basically run around with an SMG, a spawn beacon like you can in 2042, and basically get all the benefits of the recon class with the sniper stuff, but run an SMG if you want instead. And I think, you know, it adds flexibility. It adds flexibility to the game, and I'm not against it, frankly. Sometimes, you know, I slap a sniper rifle on my recon class, stay back at base and just snipe people and, you know, knock people down to help the assault classes and recon and the engineer and support classes push out forward. But sometimes I like to run into the battle, smoke out as a recon, drop a spawn beacon behind enemy lines, or a tug system that basically spots or marks people, which you can only get in recon class, and bring an SMG or an LMG alongside with me. That way I can just keep in the battle without having to be stuck with a sniper rifle. I think it's the versatility of that is kind of nice, but a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people want, you know, every class to be stuck with a certain group of weapons, and I understand that as well. So basically, DICE is saying the majority of people prefer open weapons, being able to equip whatever weapon you want and create your own custom loadout with whatever gun type in any class. More people prefer that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Basically, this is what they said. There were no differences of note for time players spent in combat between open and closed weapon playlist types. The actual differences were only fractions of a percentage. Where rounded up, the results were identical. Lastly, another key insight from the open beta was that the vast majority of players, after trying both playlist types, chose to stick with open weapons. This reinforces our belief that open weapons is the right path forward for Battlefield 6, and at the same time, we recognize that some players prefer the closed weapons experience, and to support them, official closed weapons playlists will be available at launch. Additionally, closed weapons mutators will remain part of the Portal toolset, so players can create and share their own custom experiences. So again, they're basically saying, we're going to hand it off to you guys. Yes, we'll include closed weapons playlists. They're going out their way to include playlists just for those people, for the small group of people that do prefer closed weapons. You know, recon being stuck with sniper rifles, assault being stuck with assault rifles, engineer being stuck with SMGs. For those people, they're trying to bend over backwards to make you happy, which I think is good. But again, I'm one of the people that support open weapons, so I hope that remains accessible for most people, because I enjoyed that in Battlefield 2042, to be honest, being able to, you know, create a custom loadout, you know, choose the recon class with a spawn beacon and the tugs, and run in behind enemy lines with a bunch of smokes with an SMG, and, you know, lay down a spawn beacon and help my squad push forward. You know, I kind of like that. And I don't want that to change. It's one of the things I enjoyed in Battlefield 2042. You know, gameplay evolves over time, and I think the majority of people are so used to different FPS games, they want to be able to just create a custom loadout. And the different classes, they still give you the versatility and the benefits of, you know, the recon or engineer. You know, you get certain gadgets and whatnot for each class, and I think that's great. I don't think you should be, you know, stuck with a sniper rifle if you want to play aspects of what recon does, but not have to literally be camped out with a sniper rifle or run around and try and no-scope people with your sniper rifle. I like the versatility of being able to run with any weapon you like in recon. Hell, give us some sort of perk thing that lets us run with two primary weapons as recon, you know, sniper rifle on one side, and maybe an SMG on the other side in case somebody tries to rush you and you've got nothing but your handgun. You know, it's kind of nice to have a secondary primary. I know there's probably some of you guys in the comments like, Blaze, if you want that, just go play Call of Duty. Fair point. But this is what people had to say in the comments. So Jose says, didn't help that the closed weapons playlist was basically buried under all the other playlists in the game. Wasn't a good demo test. The game plays better if you restrict weapons to classes, as we are now going to be in a situation of people playing the same 1 or 2 classes. But I don't agree with that. I swap, but I enjoy in Battlefield 2042, I enjoy switching between assault class for the little zipline thing tool. I enjoy playing engineer, that we can focus on C4. Charges and all the other gadgets that come with engineer, like repairing tanks, having the repair tool and stuff like that. And then sometimes I switch to support, that we can have unlimited ammo bags and crates, that way I can have be fully stocked in ammo and drop med kits for people and revive people. And then sometimes I switch to recon. So I disagree with the fact that some people are assuming that maybe basically the majority of people are going to be stuck with 1 or 2 classes, or just stick with the same 1 or 2 classes. No, not at all. At least in my experience in 2042, I loved switching back and forth. I might use the same guns across the different classes. Sometimes I like running the SKV with a thermal scope on in recon class, in support class, and I'd mix it up, I love mixing it up and enjoying the gadgets that each class offers, but sticking with a set weapon. If I'm focusing on leveling up my SKV, I want to be able to play the SKV in all my classes and change up the gameplay with the different classes, but stick with the same gun. I like that versatility. I apologize, I've not had coffee today, so my mind is a little bit jumbled, so if it feels like I'm rambling, I probably am. Brazzy Gaming says, for context, closed classes playlists were basically hidden. It's not a very fair comparison, but we all know what EA are like, don't we? ? It's because closed weapons playlist was literally borderline hidden. Listen, I'm glad that EA is sticking with open weapons, frankly. I think the majority still prefer open weapons. I do respect the old ways, the old gameplay. I've been stuck with a certain weapon class, but again, that's why we've got Portal, right? There's going to be custom servers where people can create their own server and run different, game options and whatnot, and that's still going to be a thing, all right? But just keep open weapons the default. But feel free to disagree. That's what YouTube's all about. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. I completely agree with Rich here. Good grief, so much whining. With the amount of people playing this game, if you want closed weapons, you can pick that playlist and play it that way. Armchair critics nitpicking a game they can never create themselves. Just be happy that they're still including it as an option. That's pretty true. I went over on the subreddit, the Battlefield subreddit, and there's people complaining about everything. Like, people complain if it was open weapons, people complain if it was closed weapons. Let's just let the game launch, have fun, enjoy the game for what it is. And like I said, there's going to be servers that open up that have closed weapons for those that want to play that, and they're going out their way to make sure there's a playlist with closed weapons. So let's just relax, all right? Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on Battlefield 6. Are you excited to play it? Let me know what class you're going to be playing. Let me know if you're in favor of open or closed weapons, and I will see you in the next video on the Flippity Flop. Take care. See you in the next one. I'm Blazed, okay? Have a great day.